I don't really know what to call Canada these days. See, I recently went to Hawaii on vacation, and when I was there, you're meeting people from all around the world, all around America, and like, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? And I say, oh, I'm a snow Mexican. And you can easily tell who the liberals are. They get very offended by that, but that's like individual people, like snow Mexican. But like, what is Canada? Is it just called Snow Mexico now? Is it called Les Pesos to the North? I don't really know what it's called, other than just the place where everything is fucked, because that's what we're taking a look at today. How screwed Canada truly is. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. We do have quite a bit to take a look at here on the Canadian stuff, so I do hope you stick around for the full thing. Without further ado, here we go. Starting off with some, I don't even want to call it good news, just some like kind of cool news for starters. As an ocean boy, I like to take a look at news clips like this, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. A BC couple on this oceanfront property captured a second humpback close encounter. Yeah, that's state of Canada. Ooh, look, a whale all over the news.
Whale. It started with a splash, then a quick dash.
I grabbed an action camera that I had lying next to me and basically ran down the ramp.
Has his boots on and is gone halfway down to the dock by the time I even have a sweater on.
Within seconds, Peter Mires was face to fin with this giant.
The whale actually comes to the point of the dock surfaces.
Sure enough, it was a humpback whale.
It happened Saturday here in Rainy Bay. For more than 20 minutes, the whale swam between the docks while the couple attempted to capture a glimpse on camera.
I mean, it's not really like newsworthy, but I love moments like that, close encounters with giants. So yeah, let's get over the good stuff now, and let's take a look at the bad giants, like the bad fat pig with rabies, which is an understatement. I'm going to have to update that. That's the old version. Let me know down in the comments what the new version of Doug Ford's name should be.
Said Quebec doctors should call you. Those remarks were badly received by Premier Legault. Knowing what's happening now in Quebec with Bill 2, what do you say to Quebec people that are angry because they lost their doctors because they're coming to Ontario?
What I say, the same as I say in Ontario, we don't put a gun to anyone's head. We don't handcuff any of our doctors to stay in Ontario. If you treat your doctors well and you respect them, they're going to stay and they're going to have a thriving practice. In saying that, some of our docs may move out west, they may move out east for personal reasons. And if any docs around the country, around the world, that's what we're attracting. Doctors around the world right now to come and practice in Ontario because they know it's a great place to, number one, live, raise a family, and start their business because the doctors' offices are their personal businesses. So
it's so funny because doctors, other health practitioners have very much left Canada, either gone to work in other countries like America or just aren't doing what they want to be doing in Canada because it's not worth it. People don't want to work in Canada. That's why businesses are literally shutting down. People's practices are shutting down. And you want to take a wild guess as to where they're moving? They're not moving to Luxembourg. They're not moving to Italy. They're moving to the United frickin' States of America because it's just so much better to work and live and exist in America than it is in Canada. But at least Canadians are still holding their elbows nice and high.
What have we been hearing from leaders across the country since the announcement?
Yeah, Renee, look, a lot of reactions so far, especially from premiers, of course, whose provinces will benefit from some of these projects. And in reaction really across the board, premiers are, for the most part, welcoming of these projects, of course. BC's Premier David Eby welcoming the idea that there are several BC projects now that have been referred to the Major Projects Office. Of course, it's important to point out as well, you know, from the initial 5 that were put forward to the Major Projects Office, and now now these additional 6 projects, none have so far been given the official designation of a nation-building project. They are still with the office and being reviewed by the office. None have been, definitively approved or given that stamp, the major projects office stamp of approval, if you will. But premiers across the board have been, of course, welcoming of this, including BC Premier David Eby, who has projects on this latest list. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, of course, was reacting to this news. And the biggest reaction kind of across the board was that there was no pipeline project as part of this list. We know that Alberta and Premier Smith have been in talks with the federal government about making some changes to certain regulations that exist, laws that exist, that the Premier believes is hurting the ability to move forward with a pipeline project and stopping proponents from being attracted to building a pipeline project. And so the Premier makes it clear that she is still in talks with the federal government here in Ottawa about the potential of removing some of those restrictions, as well as ultimately the goal of building a bitumen pipeline from Alberta to BC's north coast to be able to push oil, Canada's crude oil, to Asian markets. That is ultimately the goal, and the Premier makes it clear that there are still talks ongoing with Ottawa. She expects an answer from the federal government in the coming days. The Prime Minister yesterday was asked about that as well, and said that he looks forward to continuing conversations that he said he believes are going well. He said he looks forward to continuing those conversations in the weeks ahead. And so no exact word yet on a pipeline project. Other premiers also, Renee, supportive. Premier Ford in Ontario has a project on this list. Welcome the idea of being able to streamline some of the approval processes for the Crawford project in Ontario. Across the board, premiers who have projects on this list, of course, are welcoming of this idea. The idea really is that these are all projects that are already pretty far in terms of getting these projects done, in terms of having already started a lot of this processes. The idea is that getting them or referring them to the major projects office will help with some of the approvals, the approval processes, and streamlining those and making sure that they happen faster.
Yeah, if they were going to happen under Liberals, I feel like the last 10 years, something would have happened, and it hasn't. And so that's kind of the catalyst for what we can expect moving forward. But I'll pass the question off to you. Do you think that Mark Carney is actually going to approve, and not just approve, but actually get built pipelines in Canada and add to our economic value? Or do you think it's just more posturing? Let me know what you guys think down below.
Before long flight to BC,
Prime Minister, what can we expect from the major projects office announcement tomorrow?
The Prime Minister tight-lipped on what he'll announce on Thursday, but sources have told Global News about some of the projects that will be added to the new major projects list. The biggest, the Silism's liquefied natural gas project in northern British Columbia, that would send over 20 billion cubic meters of LNG to Asia annually. The project has some Indigenous ownership, a key factor for the Liberals.
I think this is really true economic reconciliation, because a number of First Nations, Inuits, and Métis have asked us, we want to be part of these projects. We want to be a part of these projects.
A hydro project in Iqaluit will be added, along with the Sissons critical mineral mine in New Brunswick. The Crawford Nickel project in Ontario will also be included, pleasing Doug Ford. But the Ontario Premier wants even more from Ottawa.
It's great that they're doing the Crawford Nickel project. I love it. But let's get out of our way on everything else. Let's get out of our way when it comes to the Ring of Fire. Make sure we have one project, one process.
Ford could get his wish. Additional projects will also be added on Thursday, but the overall strategy, the wrong approach for the Conservatives, despite Pierre Poilievre's party voting for the Liberals' signature natural resources legislation.
The Liberals are like that pub that has that sign on the wall that says free beer tomorrow. And so you come back the next day and it still says free beer tomorrow. And you keep coming back day after day for the promise of free beer, and the price of beer continues to rise and rise and rise.
The LNG project, along with the Sissons mine, are essentially approved by the required governments, leading industry experts to say the newly formed office seems to be more about funding than fast-tracking, building on tax credits and cash offered in the budget.
It's clear to me that it needs to be the government, putting in actual money, coming in first with the funding, and hoping it crowds in private sector investment.
These won't be the last developments announced, Donna, with the Prime Minister having promised additional projects being added to the list before the Stanley Cup Finals in June.
Yeah. I don't know if Mark Carney is the guy that people think he is. He's certainly trying to posture himself as the guy. But again, we're just going to have to give it some time and wait and see how this does play out. Let me know what you guys think down below.
The North Coast transmission line will enable transformative industrial projects, including silicium, LNG, as well as multiple critical minerals developments in the Golden Triangle. The transmission line alone has the potential to create $10 billion in new economic activity in this area, while reducing emissions by up to 3 million tons annually. But more broadly, the Northwest Transmission Line will anchor clean energy industrial corridor for generations. And it has the potential to be connected with the Yukon through the Yukon-BC Grid Connect that will increase the Yukon's energy security and affordability, as well as there's a potential for an interconnect with Alberta to optimize reliability and sustainability in that province. Now, with respect to critical minerals, by 2050, global demand for those minerals is expected to increase fivefold, 5 times. The problem is, at present, the supply of those resources is highly concentrated in one country and it's very risky. What the world wants is Canada to be the reliable supplier of critical minerals as the world moves to building a more sustainable economy. We're already amongst the top 5 global producers for 10 different critical minerals. And we hold rich geological endowment of all 34.
Yeah, Canada has so much potential. Canada is the second largest country by land mass in the entire world, with I think Russia being the hugest by over double Canada's land mass. I think we got like 17 million kilometers squared of land. Canada's at like 9.9. America's down to 9.5, with China between Canada and America taking third. Canada has so much potential. We got so much land. We have so many goodies under our land. And the problem is that the Liberals have been in power for over 70% of the time. And look where we've gotten. The average Canadian is not very rich, not even rich. The average wage growth in America or in Canada is very lacking. The average everything in Canada is not very good. We have so much potential, but it's idiots that are in power, not using us to the fullest potential. So is this guy different? Is Mark Carney really the Messiah? Is he really the fixer, the closer per se? Or is he just another Trudeau? A lot of people are saying that he's just another Trudeau, but again, we're going to have to wait and see. That's in the video. Hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.